Hello, my name is Yoon Han. Thank you so much for having me today. I'd like to thank you for being a part of the Digital Visual Studies video series here. And then thank you so much for your invitation, Dr. Robert Sweeney. So it's really great to have this opportunity to share my work. And then a little basic introduction of myself. My name is again Yoon Han. I'm currently associate professor in the design department in San Jose State University in California, United States. I'm currently media artist, interaction designer, and researcher. I was born and raised in Seoul, South Korea, and then moved to California like in 2008, I think. Yeah, it's been a while. Since then I've been living in California, I think almost 15 years. Yeah, more than actually longer than 15 years. My background is a graphic design, interaction design, and then I've been working on the interactive media art, data visualization, data sonification using various technologies. So my research actually focuses on how we can actually reveal some interesting narratives using technology and then data representation in meaningful ways and artistic ways. So here I'd like to share my several projects today. And then, yeah, so today I said the topic of my talk as a data representation as a tool to unveil our story. Here already, I gave you introduction about myself, a little contact info and my website. So this is the some of the thumbnail images of my previous projects. Since we have limited time today, I cannot go deeper on all the projects, but just I like to show some glimpse about my projects. But pretty much what I'm trying to do is like data storytelling, how we can actually understand data in a meaningful way, and then how we can actually kind of visualize it or sonify in artistic and the experimental ways to unveil our story to the audience. So data actually, tells a lot of stories, right? So there's a hidden narratives, things we can actually learn about our lives, environment, society, culture, and also past and present feature of our life. So it's not just anymore about numbers or text, but there are a lot of things you can actually learn by visualizing in many different things. So I believe also data based on the context and story of the data, there are a lot of probably possible approaches and methodologies you can actually visualize it. So here I'd like to show some experiments I did. And then, well, there are a lot of different kinds of data, but the first data I actually played with it was actually biometric data. So biometric data means, is actually about like some kind of special, like some kind of data created in the body. So like it can be kind of fingerprint or face, veins. There are a lot of, things like the iris. So this is called the distillation, and then it's actually visualize and sonify your fingerprint. So it's actually interactive art installation. So you actually scan your thumb, and then those lines turn into 3D form and animate it, and then turn into sound. So actually, video might be a little bit lagging, but you can actually check in my website. So what I'm trying to do here was to kind of, first of all, convey the data to sound. So usually we actually visualize the data in the many different kinds of visual forms. But if you actually turn it into sound, I believe there might be some way we can actually keep this kind of sensitive biometric data in like a more secure way, and also understand the data in pretty much interesting way, So basically your fingerprint can turn into like a musical note. So that was the first approach. And after the distal sonas, I actually used the iris, the eye colors and the eye pattern. So this work is called Eyes. It's an interactive iris sonification. So pretty much, it's same interaction. There's a camera, you scan it, and then you can actually see the your iris in the screen, and then you actually detect the kind of most dominant colors in the whole the pixel data, and then it actually turns to the sound. So you can actually listen to the sound all generated by your eye. So it's pretty interesting, to listen to your eye sound. And then as you can see, there are a lot of, well, even though, you might have a brown color eye or blue, so there's a really subtle change. They're very different, blue color or brown color. So that actually determines the frequency and amplitude or other parameters in the audio synthesis. And the third project as a part of the biometric data series project for me was the roads in you. So it was about like the vein visualization. Actually, the approach was a little bit different. So it actually scans your veins, and actually it actually tried to match the most similar forms discovered in the roads or streets in the Google Map API data. So, the roads or streets are all very like entangled, very complicated line forms, right? And like the veins. So I saw that there's a kind of similarities, probably then also difference. So I like to kind of compare those, to two very different data, but similar looking data, and then try to find a correlation between those two, different data. So you can actually see, kind of where will be the cities or location region that really like looks similar to your vein data. So I think it's pretty interesting because it's a very unexpected and very surprising moment when you actually found that your vein actually looks like some kind of alleys in the Paris or India or China, Korea. So I think it's many people were kind of really engaged with this project and then interacted very actively when I actually exhibited this work in several places. Those three projects were all biometric data series I created. But after then, I actually work on the more like environmental issues driven project. And then usually what I'm trying to do is like try to kind of get the data about our memories, identity, and body, society, and culture, environment. But recently, try to understand what is really going on in our world, especially like climate change issue, global warming issue, and what happened before, what's going on right now, and then what will happen in the future. So, and then since I've been living in California for a while, California has really dynamic situations, as there's a wildfire going on, drought, or, so many like air pollution, or, so many related kind of phenomena actually happen. So as a researcher and an educator, I really needed to kind of understand what's going on through my kind of artistic approaches. So several projects I've done about like a drought visualization and some kind of collaboration with the engineering department. And it's definitely like a student involved projects, 3D printed sculpture to talk about like a drought and water circulation issue. And then many more. So still this is actually an ongoing project. And then I'd like to introduce several projects in depth today. So the first project is called The Future is Red. It's an interactive data visualization. It's actually about the wildfire, and the wildfire in California and the wildfire in South Korea. So, wildfire, happens every year, definitely in California. You've probably seen news articles and about like some kind of severe wildfire happened in California. So it's actually I really need to learn about it. So it's actually the wildfire data is actually open source data. So I got it and then filter it, clean up the data, and then just try to make it intuitively like visualize it. So it actually each wildfire turn into each dot. And then definitely the size of the dots represent the severeness of the wildfire, duration of the wildfire, And it's actually interactive installation. If you hover over, you can actually learn like details about the wildfire. So yeah, what was the cause, and then when did it happen, when it ended, the location, longitude or latitude, etc. And also, this was actually a commissioned project from the one museum in South Korea. It's called Arco Art Museum. So they also wanted to kind of show like a South Korea wildfire. So yeah, so there are actually two monitors that actually show each different wildfire data visualization, and then also there are some 3D printed sculptures that actually visualize the air pollution, yeah, the level, and then a wildfire as well. So yeah, actually this product actually came from this the happening. It's actually one day it turned into it. This is actually the scenery happened in the 9 a.m. in the morning in San Francisco. So there's actually big wildfire happen, but it's actually the whole smoke actually covered the whole sky, but the sun rises. So it's actually there's a really surreal, very interesting, crazy, like the the kind of orange sky happen. And this actually looks like kind of apocalyptic moments really happen. So it was definitely the moment is actually really strike to me. And then probably everyone experienced it at the time, really realized something. So then probably everyone realized that this climate change is really happening. Something is really going on. So yeah, so there was actually one moment I wanted to learn about the wildfire. So yeah, this is the installation setup. And then yeah, and then it's pretty simple as I mentioned, each dot represent each different wildfire. So if you see that there are some two layers. So one in the middle actually represent the kind of significance of the wildfire, and then like a damage level, and then the outer like a circle represent the duration. So yeah, you can kind of see the impact of each wildfire. But as you can see here, from the 17 to 2021, it's getting worse and worse, right? And then probably I think this time is pretty much similar, because of the same like the temperature, climate conditions we have. And yeah, some views in the installation views on the museum. I actually like the kind of sculpture form. So actually this screen-based data visualization is actually working, of course. But sometimes, if you actually have some physical, like the stuff in front of you, you can kind of ponder and then kind of have your own pace to learn about and then investigate it about that sculpture, right? So everyone has a different pace. So I think the sculptural form can probably, give some openness and freedom for the audience members to learn about the narratives and, message about it. So especially in this one, I wanted to kind of show a correlation between wildfire and the air pollution. Like there are actually two kind of layers. So the top layer and the red color means wildfire happened in the California, and then the black 3D printed parts actually represent the air pollution the data. So people can kind of try to understand what's going on in each region on their own. So yeah, and then you can kind of visualize it in multivariate data in one place. So I think there's I like the kind of complexity aggregated in the one place. Yeah, so yeah, so that's why I try to actually have some kind of little physical stuff in my installation. Yeah, some of the exhibition view at the time. Yeah, it was actually exhibition happened in 2021 in Arco Art Museum in Seoul, South Korea. It was actually a very big group exhibition. Definitely there are a lot of other artists, but the overall theme was about like a climate change issue, global warming issue. So there are a lot of interesting works like the VR work or video installation, 2D like drawings, or like interesting robotic installation as well. So it was very a huge honor to be part of this exhibition at the time. Yeah. And then actually at the time it was still in COVID pandemic time. So the museum actually asked me in any way we can actually use some more safe interaction technique, like a method. So I kind of came up with some idea of using leap motion camera. So leap motion camera is like this photo, the person is like holding the hand, but a little bit on the distance from the hand, there's like a small infrared camera. So it actually is a pretty effective one. You can actually detect the hand gesture pretty easily. So I used that one, so there's no touch necessary to experience this artwork. So just place your hand a little bit above from the camera sensor, and then you can kind of move around your hand to explore the visualization and then learn about details. Yeah. And then also this project, one thing I really want to do was definitely, we need to understand what happened before, like a past, present, but I wanted to learn about future of the wildfire situation in California. So I actually worked with the master graduate engineering student in San Jose State University. And then he and me actually kind of tried to use various algorithms like AI, machine learning algorithms to understand what will happen in the future. So we kind of try to find some patterns before and analyze it and make some kind of expectation in the future, near future. So yeah, several attempts we did it, but surprisingly, when we try many different algorithms, but the result was pretty much similar, So the pattern will be same, and then mostly like a severe wildfire season is actually like a summer to far and when it's very dry. Yeah, so that the peak is always like in the around like summer to far season. So yeah, and actually after we did it, we checked after actually this is now 2023 is like a past. So we actually checked at the wildfire situation, and then it was pretty much similar to what we found it. So yeah, I think that's why AI is very powerful. We can learn so many things, from the technique and the technology, right? So yeah, so we actually applied the algorithm framework to California wildfire and South Korea. So you can see, the kind of similar pattern it will be going on. And then, yeah, I need to actually continue this project as well. So it's kind of stopped in the December 23, which is actually also passed, but probably I need to kind of resume this whole process and then kind of try to predict the future of wildfire in the next couple of years. Yeah, so, and then because actually these days, as you know, there are a lot of more advanced AI frameworks, libraries, yeah, out there. So probably, yeah, I think yeah, I can probably dig in and then use it. Yeah, and then yeah, it's also not only just I'm trying to show my work, and definitely in the exhibition format, like a museum or art gallery or conference, but I try to actually document my design process as a paper, like a publication. So either conference paper or journal paper. So this project was archived and documented, and then yeah, I had a chance to submitted to the ACM Chi conference in 2022, and then luckily we got accepted. So yeah, it was published at the time. So yeah, so you can actually check more details about this project by reading our publication. Okay, so after this project, moving on to the pretty much one of the most recent projects I've worked. So it's called the Plastic Landscape, the Reversible World. So I usually like work on the data visualization or interactive media art, but this was actually my very first time to work on the video installation and then animation, especially multi-channel video, like animated video installation. So I actually had a really lucky chance to show my new work in the newly constructed media art museum in Korea in 2023. So it's actually located in the city called Ulsan. So Ulsan is a little far, like I think 5-hour drives from Seoul. Yeah, so it's actually they opened very new museum focusing on the media art, and they actually really cool space called Extra Lab. So yeah, then I had a chance to show my new work with the other two more artist teams. And then what we actually do is actually we need to actually make some kind of work that fits to this, the room, with the 4-channel system. So yeah, there are a lot of actually many like immersive spaces, museums, galleries, places in the world. So yeah, finally I feel like, oh, I got a chance to show my work like something like here. So, but at the time, I was actually really interested about the plastic issue. So my idea was, how can I visualize it animated microplastic? So I collaborated with the engineers in Yonsei University in Korea, also animator, also my former student in San Jose State University, and also my friend who is also a musician, and sound designer in Meta in San Francisco Bay Area. So I found many good, really awesome collaborators to make this one happen. So the idea is, there are a lot of microplastic, like weird hybrid like plastic objects like floating around in our nature. So, and it's actually 12 minutes long, and then it's like a kind of landscape. So as a title showed, it's actually a plastic landscape. You can actually observe it, like how the plastic objects really like naturally mingled and then combined into our nature. And also it's actually like a decomposing. It is really like kind of spreading out as a kind of particles, like the microplastic, but it kind of looks like kind of beautifully created like raindrops or air, something like this. So I think it's actually, it actually shows like a kind of maybe near future apocalyptic, but not super dark, ironically, but kind of believable, near future scenery. So yeah, here's the video. Yeah. So just a little background about this project is, well, as I mentioned, the motivation is about like some like really happening, like climate change is happening. This is some of the images I found it. And then it's a satellite view of the California, and you can see, compared to the top image, the bottom one doesn't have a lot of white snowy area anymore. And then on the right side, the water is pretty much like gone in the Lake Oroville in California too. So I think this is yeah, some of the things really inspire me. And then this is actually a photo I've taken after my 2 weeks quarantine during the COVID pandemic era. So, in Korea, actually, when you actually go back to Korea, you have to actually have, 2 weeks quarantine. There was a kind of a policy, very strict policy. I think every country has that kind of thing. So, yeah, so I was so surprised that, because you have to be in the room, for 2 weeks, definitely you can kind of use the dish or whatever, but delivery service is very convenient in Korea. So I couldn't resist, that kind of convenient system. But I realized that, oh my God, I used a lot of plastic containers at the time. So I actually sort out those things and then took this photo, and then, oh my God, and then 2 weeks I generated all this, used this whole plastic containers. But wow, how can you actually imagine, how many containers many people actually use it in the world? So, and then, the types of plastic and then time of decomposition is actually also the one that was very like inspiring to me. So, based on the types of the plastic, actually the time of decomposition is very different according to the many different research. So mostly plastic is almost impossible to decompose, but definitely, some of them it's really like thin or small one is decompostable. Plastic bags only take 10 to 20 years, but some of them like a plastic cutlery or single-use water bottle, yeah, like it takes 450 years. So yeah, and then longest one is a plastic cutlery, it's 1,000 years. So I think it's amazing, it's crazy to see this kind of truth about the plastic issue. So when I work on this plastic landscape project, my research questions are about what if machine learning AI frameworks can detect the similar shapes of two different objects. So because I thought, the plastic outcomes will definitely become a part of our world, and how it will actually replace the existing nature objects, near nature creatures. So I was curious about how to kind of create some similarity and difference between two different objects, and then kind of apply the style transfer algorithm on two objects and make a blurry, interesting combined imageries. And how can you measure the similarity between two objects? How similar they are, how different they are, what's the metric, and how can we create the absurd imageries for a plastic world? How can you apply inverse transport to represent the restoration of the nature in our environment? So finding similarity and difference was the first thing. So, that as I mentioned, some of the plastic objects look like some kind of creatures in nature. Yeah, so kind of try to find some kind of similar objects, and then kind of apply those kind of replace the ones and then kind of embed into the nature landscape, but basically, so in the far away view, I thought in the landscape it looks like kind of normal landscape, but when you actually get closer, you can see something is weird, something is different, there are like a lot of actually plastic things actually covered everywhere. So that was a kind of my first intention. So I collaborate with the engineers in Yonsei University, and then they actually helped me a lot about how to apply the style transfer and the inverted neural network system into this kind of process to find the similarity difference between two objects. So there's the original style images, which is the photos I've taken from the quarantine time, the oldest plastic products, and then there's some trained in like a contents image, which is a nature landscape, those photos, and then it's actually it generated the some kind of AI generated scenes. So this is another like the chart, the figure to show the process, and then yeah, the outcome and the experiments look like this. So the first one is the landscape, and the second image is the plastic bottles, and the third one is like the style transport images. So you can see how they are kind of created, somewhat like look similar each other. And here as well. Yeah, some test images we had it before it turned to the 3D animation. It's all just 2D. And then some in terms of the whole like environment design, I was definitely inspired by the traditional Korean drawings. So for example, Ilwar Obongdo is always like the landscape behind of the king in Joseon Dynasty. So it's actually a very iconic landscape in Korean, like the painting, the history of the Korean paintings. So several other, traditional paintings. So I wanted to kind of, at the time, there's no plastic. It's a very pure, clean environment, right? So I wanted to kind of use those kind of, mimic those kind of, those sceneries captured in this traditional paintings, and then apply it into my work. So based on all these experimentations and then test images, the animator and I actually generate many the 3D objects and embed it into these sceneries. So we actually ended up with having 4 scenes. So like a forest or mountain, and then the Iceland, like the environment, and the water under the sea environment. So there are 4 scenes. So then it looks like a kind of beautiful forest, but when you actually sit it, there's a kind of a little weird plastic objects like are embedded here and there. So that was the one you can kind of investigate it, and also those objects are like a kind of breaking apart and then turn into a kind of particles flying around in the air. So as I mentioned, it kind of looks like this really it might be happening in the near future. Some video simulation before I exhibited in the Excel lab. I wanted to kind of show how it looks. This is also the test for me as well. Yeah, so some of them actually, yeah, the video might be a little bit lagging, or I don't know, but you can actually check this some images, short excerpt of the images, the video. Okay, so currently this work is on view in the Gwangju Media Art Platform in Korea, South Korea. It's until early August. So this is the view in the museum. So they actually have a pretty cool mirrors on the backside. Actually, the last year when I exhibited in the other museum, Ulsan Museum, they only use they have a 4-channel videos, but the back wall was just empty, and then painted with a white color. but this room has a mirror, so it looked like a kind of infinity room, so which is pretty cool. I think that there's a kind of pretty interesting, like a symmetrical image. You can observe it in the corner, two corners and the back side, so which was pretty cool. Yeah, there are a lot of kind of bean bags, so people actually really enjoy it, and then because it's actually 12 minutes long video, so you really need to kind of sit down to look at it and enjoy it. So yeah, and then yeah, people really loved it, and then they understood the message pretty clearly. Yeah, they also posted on social media many times, which I really appreciated, about their attention. And then yeah, this work actually traveled around last year. I think it's still going on. Yeah, so it was exhibited in the Nuit Blanche, which is actually a pretty famous big event. It's like one-day event, but I heard it's a pretty big one in Paris. So my work was a part of it. And then yeah, last December, like winter time in Seoul, there's a like Seoul Light Gwanghwamun event. So my work was actually projecting the media facade and outside of the Korean, the National Museum of Korean Contemporary History, which is actually a huge honor. You know, it's actually located, it's like a kind of a Times Square in Seoul. So so many people actually travel around it, like a commuted in this big road, and then is really exposed to a lot of just people. Yeah, so I think it's in terms of the exposure, it was really effective. And then yeah, even though it was a really cold weather, so many people came and then watched it my work. So yeah, it was pretty cool experience. And then yeah, and the Secret of Asia in Sydney happened last year. Also experience. So every museum, every gallery, you know, they have a little different setup. So yeah, so they what they actually asked me is was to kind of change this work to 2-channel videos. So yeah, I just kind of cropped that image and then change it to 2-channel images. So I think it's, so now I actually have many different versions of this project. So yeah, because as I mentioned, you know, every time you exhibit a different place, you know, the size of the projection, video, the resolution, or the size of the space, everything is very different. So yeah, you really need to kind of re-render it or adjust it, the details. There's also time restriction, etc. more. So yeah, so now I actually have so many versions, luckily. So yeah, kind of feel like I'm ready to share many other, any places, but yeah, but still, you know, it's yeah, you need to probably adjust some details. Yeah. Okay, and then the last project I like to quickly share is called the Sea on Scene, one of my recent projects. So it's actually kind of a continuing project from the plastic landscape. So I wanted to make the sea environment with those kind of plastic impacted creatures. So it's actually about the creature design. So there are a lot of actually weird plastic hybrid creatures used in this interactive installation. And then kind of it looks like just a normal fish or coral or beautiful like seaweed or something, but they actually are kind of hacked or morphed, you know, the hybrid creatures. Basically, you can actually scan it, the plastic product, using the QR code scanner in the pedestal. And then based on the size or material of those plastic container, it actually shows different, it actually kind of makes the new creature appear in this scene. So that means there your kind of the use of the plastic products is very closely tied into those creature. So what you are actually acting really like affects to the what you see under the sea, right? So that's the was kind of motto, and then a message, and then approach I try to have here. So yeah, so it's basically scenery design is really up to you. And then there are a lot of actually 3D sculptures, and then some still captured image in the picture frames. So try to kind of show people some, as I mentioned, I like the physical object. So I try to actually show some kind of little physical object kind of created from the interactive scene. Some of the process image, so it's actually on the left side is actually AI generated images about sea creatures, and then on the right side is actually those are finer, like the plastic hybrid creatures. So yeah, it's kind of inspirational images, reference images on the left, and then kind of finer designs. So, and this project actually showed in the 2 locations in Seoul, South Korea last year. The first one was actually as a part of my solo exhibition in the gallery called Pure Contemporary Art. And the second one is exhibited then as a part of the group exhibition in Art Center Nabi in Seoul. So it was the second one for the second exhibition, only one channel video was installed like this. Okay, so then what's next? So I'm currently working on several projects, and also it's actually those are all kind of extension from my recent project. So first one is the extended version of Plastic Landscape, and then also Sea on Scene. Especially I'm working on the VR version of Sea on Scene. So it's very challenging. It's my first time to make a VR project, so I'm learning a lot. But I think the using VR environment, I hope many people can kind of experience this work in any places, So instead of coming to the galleries or museums or spaces, hopefully they can just kind of enjoy and then experience this project with a VR gadget. And then I'm trying to have more and more opportunity to explore on AI and how to kind of apply AI algorithms to generate the speculated word making images, creatures, like the algorithms, those kind of things. I think AI is very powerful. Many artists actually already started working on it. I think it's actually probably become a part of the our tools, for designers, artists. So I think I see a lot of potentials are there, but definitely there's some pros and cons. But I like to actually use it and then kind of create some many experimentations for my projects. Okay, so hope this helps, and then thank you so much for having me. And then this is my contact info. So if you have any questions or if you want to reach me out for any further discussion, collaboration, feel free to reach me out. So here's my email address and website, and then social media link. So well, thank you so much for listening, and then I hope this helps. And then I'd like to thank you for Dr. Robert Sweeney again for the invitation. Thank you.